There's a budgeting rule that every personal finance creator, every article, every how to manage your money guide has been repeating for the last 20 years. Spend 50% of your income on needs, 30% on wants, save 20%. It sounds clean, it sounds doable. And in 2003, when economist Elizabeth Warren first introduced it, it actually made sense for most American households. But here's the problem. Rent prices have gone up over 70% in the last 10 years. Grocery costs are up nearly 25% since 2020 alone. Healthcare, childcare, utilities all up significantly. Meanwhile, median wages have not kept pace with any of it. So when someone in a high cost of living city, Los Angeles, New York, Austin, Miami, even mid-sized cities that weren't expensive 5 years ago, tries to apply the 50-30-20 rule to their actual life, the math simply doesn't work. Their needs alone, rent, groceries, transportation, insurance, are eating 65%, 70%, sometimes 80% of their take-home pay. And they're sitting there wondering what they're doing wrong when the rule itself is the problem. So today I'm going to show you what's actually broken about the 50-30-20 rule in 2026, and more importantly, what actually works instead. If you're new here, this channel exists because most money advice was written for a different economy than the one we're actually living in. If that feels relevant to your life right now, subscribe. New video every day, no fluff. Okay, let's get into why this rule is broken. The 50-30-20 rule came from a 2005 book called All You're Worth by Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia Warren Tyagi. The core idea was actually radical for its time: stop obsessing over lattes and small expenses and focus on the big fixed costs, housing, transportation, debt. Keep those under 50% and you'll be fine. And in 2005, for a household earning the median income in most American cities, that 50% ceiling for needs was achievable. Rent was cheaper relative to income, healthcare costs were lower, student debt hadn't exploded yet. Fast forward to 2026. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the United States is now over $1,500 a month in many markets. And that's not LA or New York, that's the national average. In major metro areas, it's routinely $2,000 to $3,500. The median American take-home pay after taxes is around $3,500 to $4,000 a month for a single earner. Do that math. If your rent alone is $1,800, that's already 45 to 50% of your take-home, before groceries, car payments, insurance, utilities, phone bills, or student loan payments. The 50% for needs bucket is full before you've even added most of your actual needs. This is not a budgeting problem, this is a structural problem. And handing someone a rule that doesn't fit their economic reality and then telling them they're bad at money is one of the most counterproductive things financial education does. Let me be specific about exactly where the rule breaks down, because it's not just one thing. First, it treats housing like a controllable variable. The rule implies you can just choose to spend less on rent. In practice, your rent is determined by the city you live in, your proximity to work, your family situation, your credit score, and what's actually available in your market. For millions of Americans, there is no cheaper option that doesn't require moving to a different city, which has its own costs and trade-offs. You can't budget your way to cheaper rent when there's nothing cheaper in your area. Second, it lumps student loan payments into needs. A 22-year-old earning $45,000 with $60,000 in student debt has a minimum payment that could be $600 to $800 a month. That's not a choice, that's not a want. But it eats directly into the 50% needs bucket alongside rent, leaving almost nothing for food, transportation, and utilities. The rule was designed before the student debt crisis became what it is today. Third, the 20% savings rate is the right instinct but the wrong starting point for people under 35. 20% is a fine maintenance goal for someone who's already set up emergency fund funded, retirement contributions going, no high-interest debt. But if you're 27 with zero invested and $15,000 in credit card debt, you don't need a savings rate. You need a debt payoff strategy first, and that requires more than 20% of your income directed at the problem temporarily. The rule was designed for a different person in a different economy. That doesn't mean budgeting is useless. It means this particular framework needs to be replaced with something that actually reflects your actual numbers. Here's the framework I'd suggest using instead. I call it fixed, free, future, and unlike 50-30-20, it's designed to flex around your actual situation rather than force your actual situation into a predetermined set of percentages. Fixed is every non-negotiable recurring expense you have: rent, utilities, minimum debt payments, insurance, subscriptions you genuinely cancel your life without. Not what the rule says this should be. What it actually is for you this month. Write the real number. Future, and here's the key difference from the 50-30-20 approach, comes second, not last. Before you decide what's left over for discretionary spending, you pull your future number out first. This is your savings contribution, your investment transfer, your retirement contribution. It goes out automatically the same day you get paid to a separate account you don't look at casually. Pay yourself second, right after fixed, before the money has a chance to become something else. What's your future number? That depends on where you are. If you have no emergency fund yet, it's $50 to $200 a month going into a high-yield savings account, building that cushion first. If you have an emergency fund but no retirement contributions, it's at least enough to get your full employer 401k match, because that match is a 50 to 100% instant return on that money, which nothing else can beat. If you've got both covered, it's 15% of income going toward index funds in a Roth IRA or brokerage account. The point isn't a specific percentage. The point is that future is not optional and it is not last. Free is everything left after fixed and future are handled. This is your food, your entertainment, your subscriptions, your coffee, your life. You can spend it however you want because the important stuff is already done. No guilt, no tracking every dollar, just the awareness that fixed and future came first. The percentages will look different for everyone. Someone in Austin might run 65% fixed, 10% future, 25% free. Someone in a lower cost of living area might run 40% fixed, 20% future, 40% free. That's fine. The framework adapts. The 50-30-20 rule doesn't. Let me make this concrete with a real example. Say you're 28 living in Dallas. You take home $4,200 a month after taxes. Your rent is $1,450. Car payment and insurance together $520. Utilities, phone, subscriptions about $280. Student loan minimum $350. That's $2,600 in fixed costs, 62% of your take home. The 50-30-20 rule already has you failing before you've bought a single grocery. Now apply fixed, free, future. Fixed is $2,600, accept that number, don't feel bad about it, it's your reality. Now pull future before spending anything else. Your employer matches 401k up to 3%, so you contribute 3%, which costs you about $126 a month in take home, but nets you $126 in free employer money on top. You also set up a $100 automatic transfer to a high-yield savings account for your emergency fund. Future total, $226. That leaves you $1,374 for free, groceries, gas, eating out, entertainment, clothing, everything else. That's tight but workable. And critically, your retirement is building, your emergency fund is growing, and you didn't have to feel like you're failing at a rule designed for a different economy. As your income grows, the first move is to increase future, not upgrade fixed. That's the actual habit that separates people who build wealth from people who just earn more and stay in the same position. Here's what I want you to do this week. 3 steps, 20 minutes total. First, add up every single fixed cost you have right now, every recurring payment, every bill, every subscription. Get the real number, not what you think it is, the actual number. Second, decide your future number. Even if it's $50 a month right now, that's fine. Set up an automatic transfer for that amount to leave your account on the same day you get paid. Do not leave this as a manual thing you do when you remember. Automate it today. Third, whatever's left is free. Spend it without guilt because the important work is already handled. Fixed, future, free, that's it. Drop a comment telling me what your fixed percentage actually looks like in your city. I'm genuinely curious, because I think a lot of people are carrying a number way over 50% and quietly blaming themselves for it, and I'd like to see what the real range looks like. If this gave you a more honest way to think about your budget, subscribe. One clear money video every day. Next video, how compound interest actually works with numbers that'll make the last 20 minutes of this video feel even more urgent. See you there.